What's going on, guys? Tonight, I'm excited. I got Eric Johnson, and we're going to talk about his journey today, all the way from what music means to him to broadcasting to now coaching people like me who want to start a podcast and don't really know where they're going yet. And, he's giving back to the community that he helped build. Guys, this guy is exactly what we want here on the Garage Mind. He's passionate, driven, and living his dream. So, guys, sit back, pour up a drink, and let's get into this one. What's going on, Eric? Welcome to the Garage, my man. Nice to finally get you on here. How you doing today?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me, Tony. It's great to be here.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. So just if you want to tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you're about.
Yeah, absolutely. My company's called Podcast Talent Coach. So I help people become someone worth listening to. There are a lot of podcast gurus out there that will teach you how to launch a podcast. But you can figure out how to launch a podcast in about a weekend watching some YouTube videos. But once you get your podcast up and going and you go, all right, now what do I do with it? How do I get people to listen? That's what I do. I've been coaching on-air radio talent and programming radio stations since 1995. I started in radio in 1989 completely by accident. I was getting my degree in architecture, and my brother worked at a radio station. And his boss called one day looking for somebody to fill in. And I said, no, he's not here. And I knew his boss through a roundabout way. And he said, hey, I'm looking for some part-time help. Would you be interested in coming over to run the board for me? And I figured, I'm a broke college kid. I could use some extra dollars. So I took the gig and I thought this radio thing's pretty cool. But I was almost done with my architecture degree. So I just finished my architecture degree and I stayed in radio and just worked my way up the ranks. Pretty soon I was programming radio stations, picking the music, creating the promotions, hiring the on-air talent, coaching the talent. And I really loved coaching talent, teaching them how to stand in a room, talk to people they couldn't see, entertain them, connect with them, and just build powerful relationships with their audience in a really meaningful way. And so I did that for a number of years. And in 2009, I started falling in love with podcasting, just listening to podcasts. I loved it. Was almost like the Wild West of what radio used to be.
Yep.
But as I listened to them, I thought, man, these shows could be so much better if these people just knew what they were doing just a little bit. Some of the tactics and strategies we used in radio. So in 2012, I started Podcast Talent Coach to take everything I had honed in radio and start helping podcast hosts. And now I help podcast hosts and YouTube hosts and Facebook Live hosts and anybody creating content. I help them build their authority and leave a lasting impact by creating powerful relationships with their audience and becoming someone worth listening to.
Nice. It's kind of crazy how you got in this whole journey by accident.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was completely by accident. I hated speech class in high school. It's like
Me too.
I was the one that was just kind of slouching down in the back, hoping I didn't get called because I hated speaking. I mean, everybody starts out hating to speak in front of people. And then when I got into radio, I'm like, well, I don't have to see anybody. I'm here in a room all by myself. Nobody can even see I'm here. And then I started having to go out on stage and stand in front of 15,000 people and introduce Taylor Swift live on stage or Usher or somebody like that. People were just going crazy. And over the years, I just kind of got used to it. Now it's pretty fun.
So now those are some big names that you got to introduce to. So how does someone how do you prepare for that? How would you tell somebody to, get past that? Because I was the same way. I was always an outspoken person, but when it came to speech class, very, very nervous. Never wanted to talk in front of everybody, afraid to mess up or whatnot. How did you prepare yourself mentally to do, in front of those crowds like that?
So going back to my architecture class, the one thing I really disliked about architecture was having to get up in front of my peers and present my drawings and my designs. Because in design class, there was like 12 of you, and you all did the same. We're all were designing a country club or a hospital or something. So you'd work on it for 8 weeks, and then you would get up in front of the class, and they usually brought in some judges to judge you, and you would get up and you would present the concept that you've
Mhm.
created here in front of, and I hated it. Oh, because it was so bad. Because the way they would grade you in architecture school is they'd take all 12 of you, 3 of you would get A's, 3 of you would get C's, and the other 6 would get B's, and then you would go do the next project. And it was just, I was like, I don't want to do this for a living. This is crazy. Who wants to
Yeah.
do this? So now I get up on stage. So when I go out in front of a crowd, uh, I I tell myself I care so much more about what I'm saying than anybody in the room does, because they're not here to see me. They're here to see Taylor Swift, or they're here to see Blake Shelton or Eric Church or whoever's coming up next. And it really hit me because I also coach high school hockey because I
Okay.
love hockey. I've coached high school hockey now for this will be my 23rd season coaching high school
Oh,
hockey.
congrats.
And they were like, wait a minute, you're on the radio. You can MC our banquet. And I'm like, I get suckered into MCing everything because they're like, you know how to talk, so you can get on stage. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So I'm on stage and I didn't write the script. Like a couple moms write the script and they're like, here's the script we would like you to read.
Hmm.
And if you know anything about speaking, we don't write how we talk. You talk one way and you write a different way. And it's really a craft to write how you speak. They didn't because they're moms. So they give me this script to read in front of. I'm probably in front of 150 high school boys
Oh boy.
and their families. So there's probably 300 people in the room, maybe even more than that. And in the script, it says the season got off to a fast start. And if you try and say fast start really quick, it's pretty difficult. Well, as I'm as I'm telling the story, it comes out the season got off to a fart because I run the two together.
Oh
And
no.
150 high school boys are now laughing at me, and I'm just having to stand there and wait for the crowd to settle down. And then I said, or as some people like to say, fast start. And I just kept going.
Nice.
And I guarantee you today, I probably remember it more than anybody. There's probably not a single person in the room that remembered I said that because it means so much more to me because I'm the one saying it than anybody else out there. So now I'm the public address announcer for our local hockey team. And so I'm the guy that goes out on the ice in the intermission with the microphone and announces to the crowd of thousands of people sitting in the stands of whatever goofy game we have going on the ice. And everybody's talking to each other. They're not paying attention to me. I might have like, a handful of people watching me do my goofy thing, and everybody else is just kind of talking to themselves. So if I ever screw up, very few people are going to even realize I mess up. And if they do, they're never going to remember it. So I just kind of keep that in the back of my mind. Anytime I'm on stage, I always know that my mess up is going to mean so much more to me than anybody else. So I just let it roll. I'm just
Absolutely.
there to entertain people.
So now, radio is a cool path as well too. I always want to do that too. That's kind of why I do the podcast too. I want real conversation. I feel like
Yeah.
nowadays, especially, real conversation isn't really a thing. We're kind of, swept up in our own things, whether it be technology or our life's just a
Yes.
lot nowadays. And I feel like we're not having the face to face conversations anymore, and realizing that we're all the same. We're doing this together, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I loved radio, and I loved, I used to I used to DJ, and I guess you got the guitar in the background there.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Has music
autographed by Three Doors Down. That's pretty cool
Oh, wow,
guitar.
really?
Yeah,
That's
when they
cool.
had their first album out, they sent me that because we played the heck out of that album.
I gotta hear the story. How'd you get that?
Yeah. Yeah, so, when you're the program director of a radio station, all of the record labels are trying to get you to play their band's music. And when you're an early supporter and you get out and you're like, all right, yeah, I really believe in that band and we'll get behind them and we'll support them and we'll try and help them become big. They'll
Yeah.
come in and play club shows. And so you get behind it and you fill the club and they'll come back and then they might play one of the smaller venues in town, like a theater, and you help pack that. And then next time they might come back as an opening act from somebody, and you help pack that. And then next time they're headlining the show, and they're like, you know what, you were there from day one. And so when we played Three Doors Down, when they had their first album out, we were playing their music and just supporting them. And so when it came time to say thanks, they just sent me a guitar and said, "Hey, thanks for all the support. We'd really appreciate
Wow,
it."
that's super
Yeah, it
cool.
was really cool. I mean, I met some really, really cool people. They're some of the most down to earth people. Like I met Pink. She was amazing. She's such a badass on stage and on screen, and you think, she could kick your butt anytime.
Yeah,
And we met her, and she couldn't have been nicer. She was so awesome. She and my wife had an amazing conversation just about our kids, and she's somebody you could go have a drink with and just hang out and have a great time. Taylor Swift was amazing. Absolutely. She is one of the most brilliant marketers I have ever seen. Just meeting her backstage. When you go backstage and meet somebody, you're with a big group, and so they're coming through and they're
yeah,
meeting 100 people every night at every show. Couple days after the show, I got a handwritten note from Taylor Swift saying, "Eric, really appreciate you coming to the show. Thanks for bringing your family out.
that's
It,
cool.
it means so much to me. You would take time out of your day to come to my show. Appreciate it." And then there was a note inside of that to my daughter, and it said, it was addressed to her, and it said, "Thanks for coming out. Stick with the piano lessons. I'm so proud of everything you do. Be sure to tell your friend Ellery I said hi." I was like, holy cow. Like just those little things like that. That's what makes Taylor Swift Taylor Swift. She is an absolute genius at marketing, and she's a really down to earth human being, and she's fantastic.
My sister would be jealous right now. She's a big fan. I am as
Yeah.
well too. She's been around, she's been in the game a long time for a reason. She knows what she's doing.
Oh, if you followed Garth Brooks back in his time, Garth was the same way. Garth made you feel like you were the most important person in the room. And Taylor Swift does the exact same thing, like follows Garth Brooks' marketing plan to the
Same.
T. Like when I met Lady Gaga, I had a chance. I was the only country station in the country to interview Lady Gaga on the air, and she was amazing too. She was like, "Yeah, you can ask me anything you want." And she had a country song out at the time, because she was dating a guy from Omaha, where I am,
Oh, okay.
and she was in town for like a week shooting the video. So the day that she was going to leave, she's like, her record guy, who I know, calls and says, "Hey, Lady Gaga wants to come by." And I said, "She knows I'm a country station, right?" And he's like, "Yep, she wants to be on the country station." I said, "Okay, bring her on over." And I was on the air for like 45 minutes with her. And she said, "Ask me whatever you want." And I said, "Well, you have this country song out. What do you say to people that just say you're jumping on the bandwagon and
Yeah.
trying to make a name for yourself?" And she said, "That's a great question." She said, "Well, growing up, my dad loved country music from the South, and my mom loved Motown. And so, growing up in New York City, I learned to love both of them. And so that's kind of where my roots are." And she starts naming off all these country artists that her dad used to listen to. It was amazing. She was a fantastic interview.
She's very talented too. I didn't even know she did a country song though. I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm a big country
Yeah,
fan myself.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. She talks about her Midwest country boy in it, and I forget the title of it. This was years ago,
Yeah.
um, but she was great. Most of the people I've met have really been cool. Blake Shelton is exactly you get exactly what you see. There's only been a handful that have really been standoffish and really
Yeah.
weren't all that interested in having a conversation. Most of the people, they get in the room and they can finally let their hair down and just hang out for a bit.
I don't know. It's funny you say country because I love country as well. I used to work. I'm here in Chicago, and we have a thing called the Windy City Smokeout, and the
Yeah.
people come out and do that. And I was a part of that. I met a lot of people too, and it's kind of cool. I was just thinking about when you were talking about meeting the people, and they are exactly who they are. They have these personas, and they're so big, and you meet them, and you're like, oh, I don't, you're nervous, and then they start
Yeah.
talking to you, and you forget that they're actual people too. You
Yeah.
have a good time with them. You get to conversate, so it's pretty cool. Who was somebody that you may have met that you were surprised was like not what you thought?
The story I told you about Pink was that she
That was
was
one.
amazing, like, not what I thought she was going to be at all, and, there are people that you meet that you're just like, "Wow." But when I first met Blake Shelton, he comes across as such a funny guy on TV,
Yeah.
and, you meet him backstage, and he just comes in and like, "Hey, fellas, what's going on? Like, let's hang out." So I got to meet him backstage at a festival one time and back by his tour bus because he was headlining the festival, and when you're out in the country in a festival out in the middle of nowhere, they don't have dressing rooms, so everybody's dressing on their bus.
Yep.
So we just went back by his bus, and he came out to chat with us for a little bit, and he still had to go to his meet and greet. So all of the people, the 50 or 100 people that were in line waiting to meet him in the tent, and then he had to go on stage to headline the show. And so he's taken a couple minutes out of his day to have a chat with me, and we're sitting there chatting, and he's just we're talking about the tour and talking about um, Christina Aguilera on The Voice,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Christina Aguilera is just as much of a as you think she is, like, and she is not friendly at all. I met her once, and that was very cold and very brief." And he was like, "Yeah, she's a piece of work on the show too." And so we're talking about that. Well, I all of a sudden I see his road manager just kind of like mingling around, like getting a little close. And like usually that means we got to wrap
Gotta
it
go.
up. We got to go. We got things to do. Like enough chit chat. We got to move on. And so I notice out of the corner of my eye, he's kind of looking at his watch, kind of hanging out. And I know Blake's got to get to the meet and greet. So I go, "Blake, man, it was really great of you to give me a little bit of your time and come hang out. It was fantastic seeing you again. I look forward to the show." And he goes, "What? You're leaving already?" I go, "Well, you kind of have a couple things you got to
You
do." And
got
this
stuff
guy
to
over
do.
here looks like he's getting a little impatient. And he looks over and he goes, "Ah, him, don't worry about him." But I guess I probably ought to take off. But thanks for coming by. And he was just a great guy, just super cool.
Now, has music always been in your life? Has that been something you've always enjoyed?
Yeah, I've loved music from I have a lot of older brothers and sisters.
Okay.
So there's 8 kids in my family.
Oh, wow.
6 come from my mom's first marriage, and then my younger brother and I from her second marriage. So my older brothers and sisters are like 10 to 20 years older than me. So they always had to watch me growing up. So when I was 5 or 6, they're listening to all of the classics. And then, so I'm listening to everything from the Partridge Family
Mm.
to the Beatles to Boston, and Grand Funk and everything in between. And so my earliest memories are growing up on Elton John and Billy Joel and the Stevie Wonder's album. Like the first 45 I ever owned was Stevie Wonder's Sir Duke.
Wow.
And I loved music all, and I used to take my cassette recorder and pretend I was on the radio and stuff like that, but never in my life ever dreamed I would be on the radio. When I was 12, I started playing the saxophone,
Okay.
and picked it up really fast. By the time I was in 7th grade, I was sitting first chair in the freshman band. As a 7th grader, I was first chair in the freshman band
Nice.
and sat there the entire time till I went to high school, and just loved music. I played in a jump swing band for a while. We put out a couple albums. We
Oh,
played
really?
South by
Nice.
Southwest. We played Windows on the World on the top of the World Trade Center. We played the Brown Derby out in L.A. And just I just love music. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and people say, "Well, what's your favorite kind of music?" Man, I love it all. I have everything on my wall. Like if I showed you my wall over here to my
Yep.
right, I have it's probably a 10-foot rack of CDs. It's probably a 10 by 10 rack, and there's
Wow.
everything on there from uh, Weezer to the Beastie Boys
Mm.
to Brian Setzer, and there's probably some Glenn Miller in there. I mean, I love music. If it's music, I love it.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I love one thing about music too, it can always bring, no matter what your problem is, no matter what walk of life you are, what culture, music always brings people together. That's the one
Oh
thing you
yeah,
never really fight over. It's just
I
something.
love great songwriters, great storytellers, some of the best.
I I just love like the passion, especially the people you get to meet the people who make music. The passion they have, that's what I love. Passion and curiosity is what always fuels my life, what I like to
Yeah.
run on. And I just, people like that, they match that very well. They're very passionate about what they do. Obviously, you're very passionate about what you do as well. And I love that music's always been in your life as well. Same here. I listen to all genres. I love that. Now, I got a question from earlier when you started. So you started the broadcasting. What was the switch? Because I don't automatically think podcasting, but I see how you fell into it. But what was the
Mhm.
mindset going into that that made you a podcast coach now?
I just love being able to build relationships with your audience. I love being able to create visions in the theater of the mind. When you and I watch a video, we see the exact same thing. There's very little left to the imagination. If you and I see a video of a red Mustang sitting out front of a casino, we see the exact same red Mustang, the exact same casino, everything. But if I tell you a story about a red Mustang sitting out in front of a casino, it comes to life in the theater of the mind in a way that's perfect for you. Like, is that Mustang a hardtop or a convertible? Is it a 68 or an 86? Is there anybody in it? Is it running? Are you anywhere around it? Is anybody else around it? Is it daytime or nighttime? Is the casino
Hmm.
in Vegas or Atlantic City or somewhere else? Like all of that is left to the imagination in a way that's perfect for you. If you've ever gone to a movie after reading the book, like you read Harry Potter and then you go
Yeah,
see the movie and you're like, that's not kind of that. I didn't, that's not what I thought he was going to look like. Like, not, that's what theater of the mind is. It makes the story comes to life in your mind in a way that's perfect for you. And that's what I really love about radio. It's what I love about audio. The only reason people listen to audio, whether it's music or an audiobook or the radio or a podcast, is for companionship because they don't want to do whatever it is they're doing by themselves. So they have something on. They don't want to
community.
drive alone. So they have it on. They don't want to go on a run by themselves. So they have their earbuds in. They don't want to exercise alone. So they're listening to something. That it's companionship. And that's that way to bring the community together because I really believe, like you mentioned earlier, I believe that technology is sucking the relationships out of society today because it's so easy for us to go through our day and never talk to anybody. I was sitting
Absolutely.
in the living room one night and my son, he was probably middle school at the time, and he's on his Xbox and he's playing Xbox and he's got his phone in front of him on like a video chat. I don't know if it was FaceTime or whatever he had, but it was, and I'm like, buddy, why are you on the phone with somebody while you're playing a game? Oh, well, he's playing the game too. Like we're playing together. And I'm like, who is it? Oh, it's my friend Billy up in Washington. I'm like, Washington? Like we're in Omaha, Nebraska. He's in Washington.
Far
My
away.
my son's got friends in Washington and Canada and Minnesota and New York that he's met by playing hockey. And we go to various hockey camps and he meets all these kids, but he doesn't have any friends that are like down the street. When I was a kid growing up, I knew everybody that lived in our neighborhood because we were outside until my mom yelled at us to come in. Right. If
Yep.
it was like 11 o'clock at night, we were making too much noise, she'd make us come in. But we knew everybody. Like Jim up the street owned the Phillips 66 gas station down on the corner of our neighborhood. And whenever mom needed help with the car, we'd go down and see Jim and he'd check the oil, he'd check the tires, he'd whatever she needed done. Jim handled it at his service station because Jim knew us and we had a relationship. You know, when you go in, it was a full service station, he'd pump your gas, the whole deal. Like we would get home and my mom would knew the trouble we got in before we would even get home because we knew everybody.
With no cell
And
phones.
now it doesn't happen. Like the relationship, we don't even know our neighbors, right? And I think it's so easy to get angry at your neighbors for their dog being in your yard when you don't know them. And I think that's why there's so much anger and hatred in society today because we don't know each other. And if we knew our neighbors and we knew the people around us and we knew the people in our community, and we knew the people across the aisle, that we would get along so much better because the relationships in society today don't exist. And when you're on your podcast and you're telling your story and you're getting people to fall in love with who you are, it allows you to build those relationships again. And that's really what I want to do is add relationships back to society.
Man, Eric, you hit it right on the head. to elaborate on what you said too, I just that's why I do this, because it's just not there anymore. I this is a time, and nowadays we have so much technology, everything's right at our fingertips, and there's no community. We just have so much information, so much video, so easily like accessible, but no relationships. Nobody comes over. Like, I remember growing up, and my family used to have everybody over, whether it was the neighbor, a cousin that wasn't really a cousin, he was just down the block and we knew him,
Right, right.
and it's like I grew up loving that brotherhood, that community, and it's just I just feel like, you talk to, like, right now at work, for example, we have a strike going on in my work right now for a ULP. And, like, I work with 225 people, and I never really knew who they were.
Yeah.
And I'm caught up in it too. I see these guys every day, and now we're getting to know each other, we're getting to talk. Some of the guys just finding out about the podcast, stuff like that. It's like I miss the relationship we used to have. And you talked about being younger. I mean, that was the same thing. We came when the lights came on, and I have a younger sister. She's way younger, 17. She's 17 years apart from me, and just like they're hanging out is just taking Snapchats at each other and saying hi. Like,
Well, I just had my high school reunion, and I haven't talked to these people for 10 years, but I feel like we've caught up because I've seen them on Facebook and I've seen their story and stuff like that. But that's not a relationship. Like, they don't know that I know about their kids, or I know
yeah,
about, hey, congratulations, your kid got into college, or hey, I know these things about them, and we feel like it's a relationship, but it's not really a relationship. Back in the day, before all of the texting and the Snapchatting and the social media, you had to call somebody. Hey,
yeah,
guess what? My kid got into college, or hey, we're having a baby. Like, you actually had to have a conversation. And now, eh, kids don't even realize there's a phone app on their phone where you can actually call somebody and talk to them. Like,
yeah.
it's crazy.
It is. Yeah, that's another. I mean, you said it too right there. The texting, I think, ruined a lot of things too. It's just texting. There's no emotion in there. You can't tell the context of what the person's saying, if they're mad
Yes.
or they're happy. Seeing face to face like we're doing now tells everything. That's how we're supposed to be. We're pack animals. We're supposed to have the conversations. We're supposed to have the community. And like right now, like if it weren't for the podcasting, I probably would have never met you, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it's just that I miss that. It's exhilarating, it's fun. And then you realize too, like, sometimes I want people, when they listen, I want people to say, "Hey, man, he's just like me," or "She's just like me,"
Yes.
that
And
there
that's what
too.
podcasting can do. When you tell your story, people see themselves in you. They go, "Oh man, Tony's just like me. I love that guy." Yeah, it happens all the time.
Absolutely. So are you still broadcasting, or you're just full time doing the podcasting?
I am. I'm doing my show part time. Like, I was quitting. I was getting ready to walk away, and they're like, all right, well, maybe you just move to part time and just do your show. So I just go in 4 hours a day and do the
Okay.
show, and then I coach podcasters and mostly coaches and information experts on how to build powerful relationships with their audience and bring them in, help them refine their storytelling. I was just on a coaching call earlier tonight. My client Paul is a dentist, but he helps other dentists implement business practices in their practice to scale their practice. He actually
Okay.
doubled his coaching business over the past year because when I started listening to his show, it was all information. And I'm like, Paul, people, the information, what they're going to learn is why they come, but they're going to stay for you. Like, we got to get past the
The
information part and
personality.
start telling your story. Like, start having some fun and being yourself. And he started doing that, and his show just took off, and his business doubled. He's almost generating $1 million a year now from his coaching business. He's
Oh,
got a
wow.
$6 million dental practice, and he's just connected with people. And it's a way to share your story and build relationships and build rapport with people. I love podcasting because of that. I think it's such an intimate one-on-one conversation. Video is very communal, like we talked about.
Yeah.
It's usually consumed with other people. You're usually consuming audio while you're by yourself, which makes it a very one-on-one sort of
Personal.
conversation, very personal, very intimate. And it's just one of the things I love about radio. When I was a kid, I used to listen to the radio, late at night, and just wonder about where they were. I might tune in and I might get WLS out of Chicago or something like that on the radio and just wonder what it was like to be them, or listen to all the old radio shows that were back in the day, Casey Kasem or whoever.
Yep.
And I never thought about being on the radio. It just brought those visions to mind, and I just thought it was really cool. And I was like, oh, so this is how you get into radio. All right, well, let's do this.
You said it. You hit on something that you just said too. I used to listen when I was younger. Because you had talked about earlier, like the imagination, and I used to
Yeah.
love how they used to do like the little like sitcoms on the radio well too. You used to listen to the
Yes.
show, and you can make up a whole show in your head. It wasn't really what they were playing out, but in your mind, it was something. It was catered to your. You called it movie theater. I love that.
Yeah, and I love Chicago radio because it's so diverse. I loved B96 back in
Yep,
the day.
Eddie and Jobo.
Um, yeah, Eddie and Jobo were fantastic. When the internet came along, I used to listen to Eddie and Jobo on the internet all the time. I love WXRT. I love Q101.
Still listen to XRT.
Q
It's my favorite.
Q101 is just fantastic. Every time we're in Chicago, I pull that up and we listen to them, and there's just so many great radio stations in Chicago, but I've never had the desire to be in big market radio like that because it's so cutthroat. Like you either make it or you're gone. And I didn't want to be part of that. I just wanted to be I just want to do my show and have fun. I rule the roost. My show, I don't want to toot my own horn, but my show's I was on top 40 for about, let's see, we signed on. I was on top 40 for, it was about 10 years. We signed on the radio station in 1999. I left it in 2008. So almost 10 years. And then I went on the country station from 2008 and I'm on it today. And I was number one over at the top 40, and I'm number one right now. I'm in the afternoons, but I'm the most listened to show in the entire state. Like more people listen to my show than any morning show that's on the radio, just because I connect. I walk down the street and people are like, "Hey," and we have a conversation, and my wife was like, "Who was that?" And I said, "I have no idea who they
I
are.
don't know.
They just listen to me and think they know me, so that's what I do."
That's awesome though, man, because take it from somebody who used to listen, like we were just talking about Eddie and Jobo. I always felt like I knew those guys and I always wanted
Yeah.
to meet those guys. That's cool, like
Because they
you're
would always tell you their story, like you
yep.
knew all about their families and their dogs and everything like that, and if you ever saw them in a bar or something, you would just walk up and talk to them like you knew them, and that's the best compliment you can have. When you have your own show, and then you go and you speak somewhere or something, and people come up and they go, Tony, I know we've never met, but man, I feel like I know you because I've listened to you for so long, and I know your dog's name, and I know you grew up in Chicago, and
Oh, cool.
I know you're a big White Sox fan and not a Cubs fan, and I know the thing. They go through the whole deal, and you're like, how do you know all this stuff? Oh, that's right, I talk about it on the show.
Yep. That's
And
do
I
you
don't
have a
know if you like the White Sox or not, Tony. If you
I
like the
actually
Cubs,
do.
sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't
No,
mean to
you
offend.
hit that. No, you hit that perfect. I actually do. And
You seem
they're
more like a White Sox kind of guy.
they're doing better than the Cubs right now. That's all I gotta say.
Yes,
They're
yes,
I mean, they were last place for the last 3 years, so I mean better
yep.
is not that much, but no, you hit
It's a
that perfect.
cycle, comes and goes.
What so like first of all, what's your radio station? Because I gotta listen to it.
It is Cat 103.7,
Yeah,
KAT.
I'm gonna put that down.
If you go to thecat.com, that's where you'll find it. THEKAT.com.
Thecat.com?
Thecat.com. Yeah.
K with cat with a K?
Cat with a K. THEKAT. Yep. And you can, there's a listen live link there. You can listen. I'm on 3 to 7 every day, Monday through Friday.
All right.
Yeah, it's a great time. Radio has afforded me some really, really cool opportunities. I've interviewed bands when they were nobody, and they come around. Like Luke Combs was in our radio station before he had a record deal,
Nice.
and was playing a couple songs, and he ended up playing 3 songs for us that all went to number one. He played Hurricane, which was his first number one. He played One Number Away, and then he played When It Rains, It Pours. and he's one of the nicest guys ever. A lot of the country artists are. Um, I met Chris Jansen when he was coming
Nice.
through. Over on the top 40 side, we had Destiny's Child come to town. Beyonce and Kelly and Michelle came to town and played a high school gym for us. We did a contest, and the school that won got a free concert with Destiny's Child. And that was when they were nobody. And by the time they came to
That's
do the
cool.
show, they had three number ones. They had a handful of Grammys. They because we gave it away in August. By December, they were winning all these Grammys, going on huge tours, and by I think it was March or April, they came to do the show, and they were huge. Rolling Stone magazine was actually at the high school here in Omaha covering the concert and wrote up all about it in
Oh,
Rolling
wow.
Stone magazine because it was so cool. I had Nelly. Nelly came in and did a club show for me before he blew up. Like he came in right as they were starting to work Country Grammar,
Oh, yeah,
and then
that was
all
the one.
I got him booked to do the club show as they were working Country Grammar. By the time he got here, Country Grammar was number one, and then what was the one that followed that? Hit whatever second single was number one, and they were working the third single, and that show was huge. I had dinner at Vince Gill's house. I've had dinner at Reba McEntire's house.
Wow.
I've been on every tour bus you can imagine. It's radio has been very, very good to me, and it was an incredible ride. I've met some amazing people. I went to a Super Bowl party at Luke Bryan's house. like
Oh,
it,
man, I'm jealous,
yeah,
dude.
yeah, it was. It's
That's
been
cool.
it's been absolutely nuts, and had a blast doing it.
Wow. Um, well, I'm speechless. That's some cool stuff, man. That's a beautiful journey right there. What, man, I'm speechless about that. You
But
got me.
man, I had to do overnights I did overnights my very first gig in 1991, my first full-time gig. So when I
Mhm.
got into radio in '89, I was doing part-time, part-time, part-time. Became the music director at the campus radio station while I was getting my architecture degree. Got a full-time gig in '91 doing overnights. That station flipped formats. So in '92, I was doing overnights. '93, I got bumped up to do nights on our alternative station.
Nice.
94, I changed stations and did overnights again. So now I'm doing my third year of overnights. And then I finally got hired to be the program director back at my old station. So I went back down to Lincoln, Nebraska, and became the program director down there. And that's when it just started taking off. And it was absolutely nuts, some of the things we've done.
So, like, um, doing your job title, is that just all fun, or what's the day-to-day look like for that?
Yeah, so program director, usually in a medium market like we're in, I have to do my show every day. So I'm on the air for 3 or 4 hours, and then I would also have to run the radio station. So I'm meeting with salespeople to create our promotions, all of the contests, everything
Okay.
that you hear on the radio station goes through me. So the equivalent of me is our sales manager. So the sales manager runs all the salespeople. I run everything that goes. So the commercial production, all of the contesting, all of the on-air talent, all of the music that we play, all of the imaging that goes in between the music, all of that's my responsibility. So I would have
A
to
lot.
create all of that. By the time I quit full-time radio, I was the senior VP of programming for our area. So I covered 64 radio stations across 14 markets. I
Wow.
was in charge of the programming of all of them. So all of their on air content was all under my supervision. I was in charge of all of the program directors that would coach the on air talent, and I would handle all of that stuff.
Sign me up. So where did
Yeah.
if somebody
But
wants to, if sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it took a long time to get there. Working overnights, working midnight to 6 for 3 years. The worst time is that 4 o'clock hour, man, because 4 o'clock comes around, the phones aren't ringing, nobody's up,
It's
nobody's
just dead in
calling
there.
you. You're just trying to stay awake till the morning guy gets there at 5:30. It was rough. it was some rough times, but that's how I learned how to do it because I was just trying to be like everybody else, and I wasn't succeeding, and it wasn't until I started being myself and being authentic and sharing myself and sharing my story that my radio career took off. Because once I started being myself on the radio and sharing my journey, that's when people started realizing who I was and started connecting with me for me rather than me because I was on the radio station.
because you're on. See, that's what I talk about a lot about being real, and you said it yourself. As soon as you started being real yourself, feel like a lot of people try to put on personas nowadays. Just be yourself. That's the best thing you could
Well,
be.
you're the only one that can be you, so do it the best you can do it.
Yep, you got a monopoly. You can only be you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So
You
just
know?
one more thing before we go here, Eric. Now if somebody wants, to do your program, how do you go about that? Do you have a website or
Yeah, if you go to podcasttalentcoach.com, you can find all of my information there. That's kind of where my business lies. If you have a podcast or you want to start a podcast, or maybe you have a YouTube channel and you want to become someone worth listening to, you want to become that authority. I'm not going to teach you how to go viral. I'm not going to teach you how to be the next biggest influencer sleeping in a Walmart box. I'm going to show you how to connect with people in a true, meaningful way. And if you have a show and you want me to deep dive, you can go to podcasttalentcoach.com/coaching and you can get all of the coaching details right there on how I can help you. And you can find me all of my links in my show, my podcast. I've recently renamed my show. My podcast is now called Influential Voices of Authority. I talk to people who have shows who are using the show to grow their authority in their niche so they can grow their business or grow their influence or grow their impact and just leave their mark on the world. And so that's called
love that.
Influential Voices of Authority. I do that show every week and I talk to a variety of content creators all around the country.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm losing my voice here. Sorry. Uh
Yeah,
so
it's
I,
all good. It's all good. It's been a blast. I've done 500 I just posted the 570th episode of my show.
five oh wow.
Yeah.
500.
It's been pretty cool.
Nice, nice. I love it. Yeah. I've listened to some of your material that I saw online, and it's I also Lessons from the Pit. I did a podcast with him, and he's the one who told me about you, so that's how I got a hold of you too.
With
'Cause we're ta
Tony.
Yeah, yeah, with Tony Brown. Yep,
It's
absolutely.
Tony and Tony. That'd be
Yep,
awesome.
that was awkward because we were both Tony it, but it
Yeah.
was cool because I love barbecue too, so we kinda got to talking, and then,
He's
I
such
thought
a
it was
great guy.
oh, dude, so nice, and he's so, like he doesn't realize how influential he is when he talks,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
he he doesn't even know it, and it's just
Yeah,
like
he's got great content and a great show, and he's just a great human being. Yeah,
absolutely.
if you haven't checked out his show, that's a show to get a hold of.
Absolutely. Yeah. He told me about you and real conversations and kind of about a little bit about your journey. So I wanted to get a hold of you and I appreciate you being on here. And one more thing before we go, brother. Is there anything like somebody who's just starting out their journey in podcasting or radio or whatever it may be? Is there some advice or something you could tell them?
Just do it. Your first couple shows are gonna be horrible, and don't worry about it. We all start off if you go back and listen to some of my first air checks of my first shows, it's so bad, but you can't be good until you're bad. You have to get through the bad to get to the good. Nobody starts being the best. And so don't be hard on yourself. Ignore all of I don't even go read my reviews.
No.
I read my reviews when I first started. I looked at my reviews once and it said, uh, this guy just wants to tell you about how he's been in radio for decades. And I go, well, yeah, because I have,
I have.
and you haven't. So thanks for being here, but bye bye. I've calculated it up. I've done over 36,000 hours of radio since I
Wow.
started my career, and I don't think you're going to find another podcaster that has done that kind of experience and is teaching others how to do it and do it well. So you're going to start and it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be like riding a bike. You're not going to get it at first. You're going to scrape your knee a couple times. Just get back up and get back on the bike and go do it again. And don't listen to all the trolls that are out there because they don't have a show and they don't have the courage to do it like you do. So
Absolutely.
just get on and go do it and have fun doing it.
Well, Eric, thank you for being on the Garage Mind. Brother, you're exactly who I thought you were. I love talking to passionate people who love what they do and also who give back. And that's exactly what you do. You're helping people live their journey and start their journey because sometimes, I hear it from a lot of people that I know as well that, how do you do that? How do you talk? Man, I'm just being me. You know, I'm
Just be
just
you.
I'm just
Yeah,
doing that, and
absolutely.
some people can't do that, and you're helping them do that, and, you're changing lives, and your journey is man, you have a great story. I love it. Thank you for being
It's
on.
been a lot of fun, and Tony, I truly appreciate you. Thanks, brother, for having me on the show and just letting me share a little bit of my journey with you, and I hope, I wish you nothing but the best with the show, and let me know how I can help you in any way.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. For everybody listening, thank you again. This was The Garage Mind. I'm Tony. Peace.